If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, it's Friday, June 28th, and it's 9:12 p.m. I realize I'm getting a later start tonight than I want to and that I hoped I would be getting, but tonight it was just unavoidable. And it is very hot in here, so please send me cool thoughts. We're experiencing summer here. You know, it only doesn't last very long, so I shouldn't complain. I'm not complaining, really. It's just I have to shut the air conditioner off when I record because it does sound like a jumbo jet taking off. So, Q has not posted, but we do have plenty of Q-related news, and even if it's not Q-related, we have news that I think you should know about, like this, that we're going to get into right now. Okay. I think we're being lied to. Now, this first part is opinion, okay? But it's opinion based on fact. I think we're being lied to, and I'll tell you why. I think what is happening is they are calling people that have Ebola and the symptoms of Ebola, they are trying to cover by saying they have something else. And the two things that I've noticed are measles. You don't bleed from your orifices when you have measles. And malaria. Again, you don't bleed from your orifices if you have malaria. And the thing is, with malaria, you can have bloody stools, which, by gosh, are the worst kind of stools to sit on. But you don't bleed from your eyes and your nose and your ears. Just saying. So keeping that in mind, let's look at this. Now, this is talking about, first of all, and I apologize because this is a couple days late, but better late than never because this is important. Okay, so there was 2 Ebola cases at Karatina Hospital in Nairi County, and that's in Nigeria. Okay, now nothing unusual about that, except that they haven't told us that malaria has spread to Nigeria yet. We know it has spread to Uganda, and we are, I think, some of the migrants from the Congo area have brought it to the United States, but of course that is being covered up. Now, so these 2 cases show up, don't know, I think they were 2 men, but it doesn't matter. They show up with Ebola symptoms, okay, to this hospital. 2 male, okay, so they were male migrant Ebola patients. They're bleeding from their eyes and mouth. The migrants showed up at the hospital today and were admitted in the Ebola virus isolation unit. Now, all the countries around the Congo are preparing. They've got these isolation units already prepared because they know full well it's going to spread. We have them in America. So what does that tell you? You don't waste money on Ebola isolation units if you don't think you're going to need them. Do you? I wouldn't think so. All right. According to a community health worker at the hospital who declined to be mentioned over sensitivity of the matter, told the Standard that 2 Ebola patients were admitted on Tuesday and said the 2 Ebola patients were bleeding from the ears and nose. They have been isolated in one ward and no one is allowed to go near them. The ward has been sprayed and any items they use remain in that ward, said the officer. Nairi health officer Newton Wambugu, that's a name for you, boy, that's some name, confirmed that the 2 were admitted to the hospital, but he did not reveal the report that the blood samples were taken to Kenya Medical Research Institute laboratory in Nairobi for further testing. So this is what the hospital reported. The hospital said both patients bleeding from their eyes and mouth had malaria. That's right, malaria. Okay, well, I happen to know a little bit about malaria because I've done missionary work in Central America and had to be well versed in the symptoms and so forth of malaria, and had I think we were given quinine before we went that kind of prevents it or something. I'm not sure, but I remember taking something for it as a prophylactic. Now, malaria has never, not ever, caused bleeding from your orifices, your mouth, your ears, your nose, your whatever, your eyes. It doesn't. It just doesn't. The worst thing, well, it's a horrible thing, and you can die from malaria. It's not anything to be trifled with, but it's not hemorrhagic, and you might have bloody stools, like I mentioned, but not bleeding, from the orifices. So, yeah, not sure I believe them that they had malaria. Okay, I don't believe them. Let's just flat out say it. I don't believe them. They're lying. Why? Well, I think that they've been told to cover up, personally, and they don't want to cause a scare, but I know what you're thinking. Well, that's way over there. What does it have to do with us? Well, I'll show you what it has to do with us. This just proves my point right here. Let's come down here. So we left off here. The hospital said both patients bleeding from the eyes and mouth had malaria. Malaria, the hospital said. The Ebola patients bleeding from eyes and mouth and nose had malaria. Yeah, that was my reaction too. This also happened in New Jersey. You heard me right. New Jersey. I know for a fact we have listeners from New Jersey. So this happened in New Jersey at a gas station, as reported by the media, when a migrant was vomiting blood and had a high fever. The hospital in New Jersey said he had malaria. Malaria. What a surprise to everyone in New Jersey. Yeah, malaria. You don't vomit blood with malaria. Just saying. So, here's a little screenshot here. Health scare over. Oh, it's all right, everybody. I know he was vomiting blood and had a fever, but it was just malaria. Not just malaria. Malaria is serious. I shouldn't say just malaria. You can die from malaria, and my cat is scratching my chair. But, it's not as bad as Ebola. Not anywhere near as bad as Ebola. But don't worry, everybody. The health scare's over. Don't worry. Yeah, go back to your lives. Go back to watching, the Kardashians and whatever you like to watch. And, just live your lives. Bread and circuses, everyone. Bread and circuses. So the health scare's over. New Jersey man has malaria, not Ebola. Malaria. Lakewood, New Jersey, a New Jersey man whose illness caused a health scare has been diagnosed with malaria, police say. Police were called to Wawa convenience store. Not sure who named that, but it's an interesting name. Wawa convenience store Tuesday night when they encountered a 66-year-old Neptune, New Jersey man with a 105-degree fever who was vomiting and drifting in and out of consciousness, said Lakewood Police Chief Robert Lawson. How many malaria cases do they generally have in New Jersey? The patient was transported to Monmouth Medical Center, where infectious disease specialists determined the man contracted malaria. Oh, well, he was recently traveling in Africa. Oh, so what part of Africa? Oh, they don't mention that, do they? I'm betting I know. Yeah, so he got malaria there, and it caused him to throw up blood. Yeah, okay. There was initial concern that the patient had contracted Ebola, but Lawson said it was quickly tossed out. Yeah. The patient wasn't bleeding from any orifices, a common symptom of Ebola, but he was throwing up blood. Not all patients bleed from their eyes and nose and mouth. It depends on how far along the disease has progressed, or the virus, rather. Yeah, so, it was quickly tossed out. Yeah, health scare over. The chief medical officer, however, said the two Ebola patients tested positive for malaria. The two businessmen from Mathera, now we're going back to the two in Nigeria, had, the two businessmen from Mathira are said to have traveled through Uganda from Democratic Republic of Congo for a business trip. And they're bleeding through the eyes and mouth, but don't worry, it's not Ebola. A week ago, patients suspected to have Ebola virus in Karacho tested negative after blood samples were taken to Kemri Laboratory. Now, let's go back to what I have stated and what I showed you in previous videos. Ebola virus is not always detected by a blood test. It used to be, but not anymore. So you can still test negative for Ebola and have the virus, which is why it's so dangerous to be allowing these migrants in from the Congo. So, but, whatever. So what are they doing? I just wonder, because there's all these people now dying of measles. And now in the Congo, interestingly enough, there is a huge outbreak from measles that's killing everybody. Well, not everybody, but it's killing a good number of people. But not Ebola, though. Well, remember back when you were a kid, the measles were pretty tame. Yeah, there's no hemorrhagic component to the measles. And really, it's pretty hard to die from the measles unless you are very weak. You have a very, very weak immune system. I think it's one in, I think it's one in 100,000, but we're going to be looking at those statistics coming up because we need to stay on top of this. We really do. I want to be sure I'm being told the truth. And when things don't make sense, there's a reason why they don't make sense. And usually it's because the person is trying to deceive you, tell you something is a certain way when it isn't. Now, some of you people that work in the medical field, you'll understand. I mean, you'll think, okay, yeah, this is strange. Anyway, let's go back now because there's more to get to. Oh, and just to show you, I wanted to show you the symptoms of malaria so that you would know. High fever, shaking, chills that can range from moderate to severe, profuse sweating, headache, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, anemia, muscle pain, convulsions, coma, bloody stools. So, yeah, there's no throwing up blood or bleeding from your orifices with malaria. Just saying. Okay, so let's go back here because there's more. Wait, there's more. All right, but where is it? Oh, I bet you I put it. I had separated this because I was going to do a separate video on this, but let me go over here and there is, let me see here. Okay, U.S. Health, measles in the Congo. Congo declares measles epidemic after it kills more than Ebola. Something wrong with that. And here we have another breakout of this, and this is in Malaysia somewhere, and they're saying that it's malaria, or are they saying it's measles? I can't remember now. Now, this place, which I can't really pronounce, but it is in Malaysia somewhere, it says a forum panelist rubbished the government's revelation that the deaths of the 15 people of the Batek tribe in Kampung, Kuala Ko in wherever, was due to measles. So they're saying these 15 people of a certain tribe, and this is somewhere in Malaysia, they died of the measles. But hang on here. Okay, it says he also raised doubts the quality of water. Okay, and I think it says somewhere. Oh, he also raised doubts over the number of deaths recorded. And what else? And it says only 37 of the 112 tested positive for measles. So the majority had no pneumonia, which often comes with the measles. We should look at the possibility of a plague. Other speakers in the forum, okay, well, we don't need to because these names are really hard, but I wanted to show you that this is happening around the world. There are these mysterious deaths, and it's being blamed on measles or malaria or dengue, when we know full well none of those have a hemorrhagic component. So are we being lied to? I believe we are. I really do. Now, let's go back here, and I want to show you this. I know this is very small. I was working on this. I was going to bring it as a separate but I want to get this out because I think we all need to be taking precautions. Congo declares measles epidemic after it kills more than Ebola. So yeah, while health officials have focused on the hemorrhagic Ebola virus in Congo's east, about 87,000 suspected measles cases have been reported across the country so far this year, more than the 65,000 recorded in the whole of last year. Congo's health ministry announced the measles figure when it declared the epidemic on Monday. Medical charity Doctors Without Borders said on Tuesday that 1,500 deaths from measles. Why so many deaths? Really? Had been recorded in the first 5 months of 2019, the highest since 2012, which was the deadliest measles epidemic of the last decade, which was just a couple years before the big outbreak of Ebola in 2014. So could they have been misdiagnosing those people? I don't know. Ebola, well, it's killed far more than the number that they're giving here. Ebola has, and it says, let me see. Oh yes, the health ministry said its vaccination campaign would target a further 1.4 million infants, and that 2.2 million had been vaccinated in April. Is that vaccine, is the Ebola vaccine causing the measles outbreak? I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time that there have been nefarious things in vaccines, would it? So health officials say comprehensive vaccination programs are the only way to prevent measles spreading out of control, but say ill-informed opposition can sometimes scupper such plans. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, launched a campaign, Vaccines Work, in April to counter a backlash against vaccination by some parents in different parts of the world. Yeah. So this is what I don't understand. They're pushing this measles vaccine, and it used to be that measles was not that big a deal, and I'm going to show you that very fact. Let's look at this. Now, this is death rates for 59 selected causes by age, color, and sex in the United States, 1960. Now, let's go down to the measles, which is right here. I realize this is a little bit, sorry. Let me try to make this bigger. Well, that's not, hang on here. Sorry. All right, should be able to see that. Now, let's come down to measles. Measles was 0.2 for every, now numbers are after, okay, I think per 100,000. Okay, so for every 100,000 people that had measles, or no. Yeah, 100.2. Actually, hang on here. I may not be reading this right, but measles, 0.2 was the, so I assume that these are 100,000 people with the measles, only 0.2 of 100,000 people died from it, or it could be only 0.2% of 100,000 people got the measles and died. I don't know, but measles was not deadly, not like 0.2, 0.2. That's like not even one person. Yeah, that means one person for, let me see, 500,000. So in 500,000 people, one person would die. Yeah, in 1960. So what happened? And let's look at the age rates here. So, yeah, when you get to 55 to 64, you get 0. When you get to 45 to 54, you've got, hang on. Sorry, I know I'm belaboring this, but it's important. And it's the same, male and female is the same. It's the same for non-whites had a little bit more of a fatality rate. It's 0.5. So that would mean for non-whites, 1 in 250,000 people would die from the measles. And look at all these zeros. These are children that are dying from it. Children. And there's a little bit of an increase for non-white children, but look at the ages where they're dying. It is under 1 year, 1 to 4, and 5 to 14. There's nobody dying from it after that. Nobody. 15 to 24, 0. 25 to 34, 0. 35 to 44, 0. 45 to 54, 0. 55 to 64, 0. Now, why did these children die from it? Now, granted, this is like one white child in 100,000. No, one in 500,000, in 500,000. 500,000. And generally it is younger children who probably are immune compromised. I don't know. And maybe the non-whites back then, I would suspect that more non-whites died from it because they didn't have as good a medical care as the whites. That's what I would assume back in the 60s. But there you go. So what I'm saying here is we're not being told the truth. Why is suddenly the measles, and they're saying people are dying from the measles, but they're bleeding. And they're saying they're dying from malaria, but they're bleeding. Don't get that. So, and the other thing is dengue fever, if you look on the incident map and stuff, you find that dengue fever is out of control the world over. And people are dying from dengue fever. They never died from it before. And they are reporting symptoms that are clearly hemorrhagic in nature. So are they lying to us? Are some of these things Ebola? I doubt a hospital in the US would even test for Ebola. I really do. I could be wrong. Maybe some of you guys that work at a hospital can let me know, but that's what I suspect anyway. All right, so let's move on from that because I know I've belabored it somewhat, but I do believe it's very important, and I think it's going to become more important as the time goes on. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is from a couple days ago as well, but I do want to get to this. Texas medical professional, migrants quarantined with unknown disease. 10-year-old girl found with 20 types of semen in her. This makes me so sick that it's I don't know. It's hard to even talk about such things. The following article, Texas medical professional, migrants quarantined with unknown disease, 10-year-old girl found with 20 types of semen in her, was first published on Big League Politics. A medical professional professional on the border in Texas told Big League Politics that the crisis is reaching fever pitch, with 3 individuals now quarantined at a privately owned hospital in El Paso with an unknown disease. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has not even been able to identify the disease the 3 migrants have, as the military guards the quarantine area. There were some Congolese people caught crossing the border. It was suspected they had Ebola. In one facility, there are 3 patients being held because they don't know what they have. The CDC has been there to assess them. They are isolated. They only have certain specialists who can see them, the medical professional tells Big League Politics. We've had an outbreak of mumps over here. Okay, mumps. All right. What scares me is what happens if we had someone come over here with Ebola. We only need 1 person and there's a pandemic. There was a female, excuse me, my eye is itchy. There was a female, 10 years old, who was found with 20 different types of semen inside her body. She was dispatched to a family member. The girl who was with her was supposedly a family member, was not really a family member, just someone who brought her from her family in Guatemala. These are real problems that exist here on the border. There are some people who are trying to leave jugs of water out here for them. A lot of these people come to the country needing help, the professional stated. Migrants are obtaining rent-a-kids, and since Border Patrol cannot perform DNA tests to determine if children are related to adults, most of the human traffickers get into our country. In Juarez, there is a huge influx of Cubans right now. They have taken over the streets and started a prostitution ring among them. The Cubans cannot cross here. If they have Cuban citizenship, they cannot cross here. There are a lot of people who come here from El Salvador, Guatemala, who are in acute renal failure. They cannot walk. There are some who have come with cirrhosis of the liver. I have seen some patients who are almost at the point of dying with the cirrhosis that they have, the medical professional stated. The time and resources it takes up to treat them is massive. A lot of these children come over here sick. You don't catch the flu overnight. There's an incubation period. A lot of these kids are already sick coming here. Right now, at least 2% are being taken up by people who are coming here illegally. Somehow, some way, they do not have insurance. We're guessing that as soon as they come over here, they get some kind of insurance, whether they are not given, we have to foot the bill, or whenever, it should say, when they don't have insurance, we have to foot the bill, of course. And they are illnesses they have had for a while, the professional stated. Big League Politics has previously confirmed with border watcher Jim Benvey that illegal immigrants obtain insurance and EBT cards upon gaining access to the United States. There have been some women who have come forward who have said they were raped. In the end, you have to believe they were because of the damage done to them, either vaginally or anally, the professional stated. When they cross over, you see them land, being transported in these huge buses. They don't have to go through TSA. They get escorted and go first. What they need to do is like Ellis Island. They need to vet these people and quarantine. I reported Jim Benvey is a border watcher who leads fellow concerned citizens in peacefully stopping migrants who invade the United States over the southern border. Benvey's videos from the border can be found on his Facebook page. Benvey is the leader of the Guardian Patriots and has been especially active in the El Paso, Texas region. Benvey appeared on the campaign show with Patrick Howley on Patriot Soapbox, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, and Sundays on live.patriotsoapbox.com to discuss the scourge of human trafficking and cartel activity on the Texas and New Mexico border, the ACLU's quest to fight citizen watchers, and the deep possibility, irreversible corruption of our American political system. Let me see here. Yeah, continue reading. Yeah, and I think that we've seen what we need to see here, but this is, it's outrageous. And that's it for that. So let's move on here, go back, and let's see here. Let's take a look at this. All right, and let's make this a little bigger. It's like magic, isn't it? All right. Yet another huge story that has been largely ignored by the mainstream media. Thankfully, OAN has been following the ongoing developments that outline how former Obama officials, in conjunction with multiple contacts in Congress, have recently been caught working with Iranian officials to defeat the remarkably successful Trump administration's actions in isolating and possibly hastening the collapse of the #1 sponsor of state terrorism, that is the Iranian regime. Let that sink in. Former Obama officials and current members of Congress are working to support and maintain one of the worst human rights violators in the entire world. The Iranian government has a long history of brutalizing women, homosexuals, and other religious and/or racial minorities. The regime is also directly responsible for the deaths of thousands of U.S. military men and women. And on a no doubt related note, the #1 geopolitical supporter of the terrorist-loving Iranian government, besides the former Obama administration, is Russia, which sells hundreds of millions of dollars worth of military goods to the regime every year. That's right, the very same Russian government that Democrats here in America say is a threat to our own democracy is working hand in hand with former Obama officials to help prop up the radical mullahs who have forced the wonderful Iranian people to live under the boot of their oppressive regime for far too long. Appalling. Yeah. And this person says, I thought Obama wasn't our POTUS anymore. I also thought John Kerry was gone. Why then are they working behind the scenes to undermine Donald Trump and the Iran negotiations? Why are MSNBC and CNN ignoring this? Well, I think we can answer that. I don't think that's any mystery. Yeah. Unbelievable. And that is from DC Whispers, a peek behind the political curtain. All right. Well, let's go on, try to pick up the pace a little bit here to get through a little bit more. Now, saw this on Twitter. A friend of mine sent me photos of Bernie Sanders flying first class, presumably to the debate in Miami. It must be nice to be a first-class socialist. And to me, look at this first picture here. He is putting on a sweater there. So this was taken obviously a few minutes later because there's nobody in this seat, but there is in this seat. But then here, this looks suspiciously like Ilhan Omar, also in first class, which is fine. It's fine. But if you're going to be a socialist, be a socialist. He's a first-class socialist, apparently. So there you go. Yeah, our tax dollars hard at work. Gee, I wonder why they can't fly economy. Seriously. I mean, yeah, first class is nice. I only flew first class once because I can't remember what happened, but there was some sort of a mix-up, and they just bumped me up to first class, but I didn't have to pay anything more. I would never fly first class because, it's a lot more money. And for what? A little extra leg room and, alcoholic beverages? Well, I don't drink, so there's no real benefit. You get a few extra feet of leg room, and you also got your own bathroom there. Yeah, other than that, I guess they're too good to travel economy, which they would do if they cared about our country, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they want to be saving the government some money? Can't they travel, economy like everybody else in America, except the very wealthy or business, whatever. But yeah. Now I have friends that travel first class when they go to Hawaii from Canada because it's a very long trip. I think they land in San Francisco and then go to Hawaii, but they always travel first class because they have to sleep on the plane and it's just more comfortable. But yeah, most Americans don't feel that they need to travel first class, but What do I know? All right, and this from Outlaw Josie Wales, my 2 cents, the planned narrative / plan to subvert America was accelerated too hard and fast as a result of current circumstances, no doubt, and now we're seeing a significant pushback against it as reflected by the youth decidedly rejecting the agenda. Now, let's look at this. Poll, Young Americans, LGBTQ acceptance drops 63% to 45%. That's significant. And I believe that it's precisely that. They've pushed too hard, and now there's a pushback. They've pushed way too hard, too fast. And people are pushing back and going, wait. Why are you shoving this down my throat? A survey finds young Americans' comfort with LGBTQ individuals has plunged from 63% in 2016 to 45% in 2018. Interesting. Maybe there's some hope for the young people yet. All right, now let's look at this. Can't remember what this is. D-class, social media nukes an entire generation. But why? Well, let's take a look. Okay, this might be a little bit too much to get into tonight. Yeah, let me leave this for another night because I do want to get to some other things, and that will take a little bit of time to go through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it and kind of shorten it down and get the pertinent things to you that way. All right, let's go back. Oh yes, this is dang fascinating. Hard to believe. Evidence of cocaine use found throughout Houses of Parliament. Of course, this is in the UK. Interesting. Now, this is Michael Segaloff. I snuck around Parliament the other day testing the toilets near MPs' offices and the private bars for cocaine at Vice UK. Turns out it's not just Michael Gove who's been at it. Nearly 50% of the loos had coke in them. Wow. 50% of the loos. Wow. I think we should do that in Washington, don't you think? Just kind of go and test all the toilets. It'd be interesting. Well, it would. A journalist has drug tested House of Commons toilets and locations frequented by MPs and found traces of cocaine in almost half of them. Vice reporter Michael Segaloff took coke swabs, which turned blue when they detect the drug, and tested them out on 9 locations across the House of Parliament, and 4 came up for cocaine residue. One of these places was the Norman Shaw North, a building of offices for MPs. Traces of cocaine were found in the sinks in a men's bathroom on the 3rd floor, where he used the swab and it turned blue. An indication, according to the journalist, that cocaine was present on the surface. In the same building, on the 2nd floor bathroom, another swab turned blue, though it was less concentrated. Toilets in the Woolsack, a social club, showed small traces of cocaine, and toilets near the Strangers Bar, accessible to any parliamentary pass holders, MPs, visitors who attend functions and events, public officials, and journalists, showed a huge amount of cocaine residue. The disabled toilets outside the Woolsack, the 2 other bathrooms outside of MPs' offices, also tested positive. The news comes after a whirlwind Tory leadership contest campaign had several contenders admit to taking illegal drugs in the past. Michael Gove, or is it Gove or Gove? I'm not sure, admitted to taking cocaine on several occasions at social gatherings when he was a young journalist. He told the Daily Mail, "I took drugs on several occasions at social events more than 20 years ago. At the time, I was a young journalist. It was a mistake. I look back and think I wish I hadn't done that. It was 20 years ago, and yes, it was a mistake, but I don't believe that past mistakes disqualify you. Andrea Leadsom admitted to smoking cannabis while at university in remarks made to The Independent. I have never taken cocaine or Class A drugs, she told The Independent. Everyone is entitled to a private life before becoming an MP. I smoked weed at university and have never smoked it again since. Esther McVeigh told ITV that she has never taken Class A drugs, but she has tried some pot. I've never taken Class A drugs, but I've tried some pot. Yes, I have, when I was much younger. Rory Stewart told The Telegraph he had smoked opium in Afghanistan at a wedding. I was invited into the house. The opium pipe was passed around at a wedding. Matt Hancock reportedly tried cannabis a few times. Dominic Raab previously admitted to trying cannabis in university. Jeremy Hunt had cannabis. Lassie backpacking through India. Boris Johnson said he accidentally took cocaine. I sneezed and it went up my nose. Right. Okay. Right. That's like Bill Clinton. Yes, did he say, yes, I smoked weed, but I didn't inhale? Right. Okay. Though he admitted to taking the drug when he was 19 in an interview with Marie Claire in 2008, a statement delivered after it said it was simply untrue. A parliamentary spokesperson told Indy 100, Parliament takes the issue of substance abuse very seriously and offers a range of welfare and health support services for those who need them. Parliament is a public place and we welcome over 1 million visitors a year who have access to the facilities. Should drug use be identified in Parliament, appropriate action would be taken. Well, if they're really concerned about that, why don't they do random urine tests like most companies do? Most of the big name companies do. You don't know when you're going to be urine tested. And that's how they prevent drug use. Yeah, that's alarming. Cocaine. There you go. Kind of explains something a lot, doesn't it? Someone should test the toilets in DC. That would be interesting. Okay, now let's go back because there's plenty more to be had. But time is running short here. I don't want to make this too long. Now, this is a picture of Nancy Pelosi, and I have to ask, what on earth is she doing? Be quiet, everyone. Nancy Pelosi's dentures have something to say. I just found this picture and I thought I'd share it with you because it does look like, the dentures have something to say. I don't know how important it is, but whatever. Or perhaps she's just gnawing her tongue off. I don't know, but she does make these weird facial contortions and play with her dentures. It looks like she's playing with her dentures. I don't know if that's what she's doing, but my gosh, she makes enough to buy some dentures that fit. Gosh darn it. I hate looking at her play with her teeth. I hate it. You can't make me like it. None of y'all. All right. Now, okay, this is important too. It's all important. All of it. Italy arrests 18 for allegedly brainwashing and selling children. Now, those of you that say nothing's happening, it is. I have never seen so many arrests of child traffickers and porn rings and what have you, ever. There's never been this many. It's happening worldwide. So something's happening. Italian police have arrested 18 people, including a mayor, doctor, and social workers for allegedly brainwashing vulnerable children into thinking their parents had abused them so they could then be sold to foster parents. Police in the northern city of Reggio Emilia made their arrest after an investigation started in 2018 revealed an alleged network of careers who used methods including electroshock to make the children believe they had been sexually abused. The network then allegedly gave the children to foster families in exchange for cash, while keeping gifts and letters sent to the children by their real parents, hidden in a warehouse that was discovered by police. The alleged abuse was reported by Italian media and confirmed to AFP by police in Bibbiano, near Reggio Emilia on Thursday. These accusations, if confirmed, are frightening and shocking. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte said at the G20 meeting in Japan. The accused include psychotherapists working for a social work association in Montcagliari, near Turin, and the mayor of Bibbiano. To brainwash the children, those arrested allegedly forged childlike drawings with sexual connotations and used electroshock therapy as a little memory machine to create fake abuse memories, while the therapists are accused of dressing up as wicked children's story characters. The probe, codenamed Angels and Demons, revealed a scheme to pass off as a model welfare system for abused minors what was in reality an illegal business to the child's detriment, La Repubblica newspaper reported. According to investigators, the aim of the arrested group was to take children away from their families in difficult social situations and to give them for money to other parents, said the Corriere della Sera newspaper. Some of the foster parents have been accused of sexually abusing the children they paid money for, La Repubblica reported. Police declined to say how many children were involved or of what age. Hundreds of thousands of euros were involved, Italian media reported. Wow. It really says something that all of these people tend to target children, or underage children, but also infants and really young children, like under 10, under 5. I don't know. How do you do that? How is there that many people who want to abuse children? How is that even possible? Maybe my mind just isn't wired that way, because I can't even comprehend it. I really can't. I can't comprehend an adult not wanting to be protective of a child at any cost. But, wow. All right, let's go on. Okay, now this is interesting. You've all heard of Project Veritas. They do wonderful work, and they're the ones that went undercover and discovered the body part sales, Planned Parenthood, and all that. And other things. They just do fantastic work. Well, this is from their official Twitter page. It says YouTube is losing their censorship battle. How do we know? Dozens of big tech insiders have come to Project Veritas in the last 24 hours. Now, that was from the 25th of June. So yeah, this is really, really good news. Dozens, they said, dozens of big tech insiders. So we can look forward to what all that will reveal. Absolutely. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that I get to this because this is important, really important. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo tweets 4/10/20 DJT. So DJT is the 4th, the 10th, and the 20th letter, okay, of the alphabet. Now, didn't want to go back to dentures, but I see that in my sleep, I know it. All right, this is fascinating. I don't care who you are, it's fascinating. Here we have a tweet from Q, well, not a tweet, a drop from Q from the January 14th, 2018. And it says, we the people, we the people, we the people, we the people. Where we go one, we go all. No one person is above another. No one person is, we the people are making the world a better place. We the people are taking back our country and world from the evil losers who would do us harm, all for a buck. No more. Stand up, patriots. Stand up and defend what you know is right. God bless you and God bless the United States of America. 4-10-20. DJT. This was from Donald Trump. All right. Now, this is from Abe Shinso, and Donald Trump retweeted it. And look, 4-10-20. Interesting. No? And here, this is from November 1st, 2017. POTUS will be well insulated, protected on Air Force One and aboard, specific locations classified while these operations are conducted. Due to the nature of the entrenchment, it is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph that message through normal methods for reason I'm sure everyone here can understand. Follow the questions from the previous threads and remain calm. The primary targets are within D.C., and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags. Stay alert, be vigilant, and above all, please pray. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. 4-10-20. Donald J. Trump. Now, this was November 1st, 2017, and this was just a little over a month after the whole Q thing began. Now, it didn't happen like this, but I believe it's one of those things that is yet to come. But I'm just doing this to show you these 4-10-20. Now, let's come down to here, January 7th, 2018. 4, DEFCON 1, 4-10-20, Fire and Fury, 9 states of class ready to go live, 34 commands live, codes, command, action, non-nuclear, 1, OWL 1, Q. Now, I'm not sure what all that means, but I'll tell you one thing, there we have the 4-10-20 again. And down here by an anon who solved the 4-10-20 because nobody really knew what it meant back then. And this was November 2nd, 2017, and they said 4-10-20 A, B, C, D, E, and 4-10-20 is Donald J. Trump. So don't you think it's interesting that Abe Shinso tweeted this 4-10-20? Now, it wasn't all in a row, but it's all in the tweet, and I think it's interesting. What it means, I don't know, but it surely is interesting. Now, to further that, let's look at this that I got from the Vote website. Is it coincidental that May 27, 2019 was the last time Trump met with Abe? May 26 was the last Q post. Then Q posts today when Trump sees Abe again, which, and he did. This was from yesterday, I believe, and he did meet with Abe. I got a cat under here, and he's being so cute. I wish I could show you, but if I try to grab him and show you, then, he'll be off like a bullet. All right, so I wanted to bring that to you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below because it's pretty fascinating. And I wanted to show you this that I got from the Vote site because I thought this was pretty, jaw-dropping. Jumbo jet remote control retrofitting contract of 767s from the U.S. Air Force security company at World Trade Center after the 1993 bombing. Comptroller of missing. We've got a cat alert here because he's chewing. So let me just tuck this safely in so that we can continue. There we go. I foiled you. I foiled you. Yeah. Comptroller of missing 2.3 trillion from Pentagon, one man tied to all. So it says, I believe this to be a very important article. As you may probably know, I've steadfastly maintained that Dov Zakim, the former comptroller of the Pentagon, is a key conspirator in the 9/11 fraud. The following article sheds more light on this powerful, shadowy character. The missing 2.3 trillion, his connection to the mystery Boeing 767 tanker deal. I believe the aircraft that impacted the Twin Towers were KC-767s, the military tanker version of the Boeing 767, and his involvement in the SPC, the company that manufactures remote control termination systems for aircraft. Yes, things are beginning to snap into focus very quickly. A physicist in the 9/11 truth movement. That is who spoke those words. So he is a physicist and he is in the 9/11 truth movement. Think of this as part 2 of, I don't know what that means, something do trillions per do, my online journal article on Dov Zakim, former Bush appointee as Pentagon comptroller for May 4th, 2001 to March 10th, 2004. At that time, he was unable to explain the disappearance of $1 trillion. Actually, nearly 3 years earlier, Donald Rumsfeld announced on September 10th, 2001 that an audit discovered 2.3 trillion was also missing from the Pentagon books. That story, as I mentioned, was buried under 9/11's rubble. The two sums disappeared on Zakim's watch. Yet on May 6, Zakim took a lucrative position at Booz Allen Hamilton, Snowden contractor, one of the most prestigious strategy consulting firms in the world. One of his clients was Blessed Relief, a charity said to be a front for Osama bin Laden. Booz Allen and Hamilton then also worked closely with DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is the research arm of the Department of Defense. So the dark card was shifted to another part of the deck. Wow. This is, it's beyond jaw-dropping. I don't even know what to say about it. So I don't know, but I'm going to be on the lookout for more information into this because this is gobsmacking. And again, it's even more than gobsmacking. I don't know how to describe this, but it sure does tie a lot of stuff together. A lot. It makes sense to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So, yeah, let's look at this too. Judicial Inc.'s bio of Dov, linked below, tells us Zakim is a dual Israeli-American citizen and an ordained rabbi and had been tracking the halls of U.S. government for 25 years, casting defense policy and influence on Presidents Reagan, Clinton, Bush Sr., and Bush Jr. He is, as I described him earlier, the bionic Zionist. In fact, Judicial Inc. excuse me, points out that most of Israel's armaments were gotten thanks to him. Squads of U.S. F-16s and F-15s were classified military surplus and sold to Israel at a fraction of their value. So isn't that interesting that that money was missing and on his watch, and all these connections? Very interesting. Interesting indeed. Now, here is something very recent that is, I think you'll find it fascinating if you haven't heard already. Oh, he's trying to get me to, he's switched sides now and he wants me to pet him. Hang on here. Hang on. I know it's very, very rough being a cat. Oh, you poor thing. I know it's tough. Just such a terrible life you have. It's awful, the life of a cat. Wouldn't it be just ow, 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 ow? Okay, sorry. Sharp nails. She lied. Kamala Harris says she was in second integrated class in Berkeley, but yearbook pictures prove she's lying. Well, you know, if her mouth is open, she's pretty much lying. On Thursday night, Kamala Harris took on former Vice President Joe Biden on his past record of segregation. Kamala lectured Joe on how she was in the second integrated class in Berkeley, California. She suggested that the local school district had failed, added, "There are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people." The audience loved Kamala's attack on Joe. And her campaign honored her planned attack by quickly posting a photo of Kamala as a child in pigtails. Oh. But it was all a lie. Yeah. Harris said she was a student in only the second class to integrate at Berkeley Public Schools. Not true. Kamala's parents were successful professionals. Kamala went to school in Berkeley for only 2 years. She then moved with her mother at age 7 to Canada, where she attended grade school and high school. Kamala Harris was born in 1964. She claims she was only the second class to integrate at Berkeley Public Schools. Kamala lied. Actually, the classrooms in Berkeley were already integrated in 1963, before she was born. Here's a photo from the 1963 Berkeley yearbook. Yeah. And here's a photo from the Berkeley 1964 yearbook, the year Kamala was born, and it looks pretty integrated to me. There are black and white faces. Kamala Harris was only off by about 20 years. The next time Kamala Harris plays the race card for sympathy, she should try to get her facts right. Yeah, I would suggest she do that because people are not as foolish as she thinks they are. She needs to up her game. All right. Now, I've got one more thing to get to tell you about, and only because it's the most ridiculous thing. My friend Heather sent this to me, and, well, I don't know what to say about it, but let's leave on an up note. Something to make you go, what? Yeah. All right. I do have other things, but I guess the time is getting, wearing on. Okay, Arby's has flipped the vegan meat trend on its head with the vegetable, a carrot made out of turkey that looks and tastes almost exactly like the vegetable. I don't get it. Turkey is far more expensive than carrot, so why would you want to make a carrot made out of turkey? I don't know. It's a turcarrot. Turcarrot. A vegetable. Turcarrot. That's what we're going to call it. So, yeah, okay, yep, does look like a carrot, but why? Why? I'm just saying. Arby's latest creation is a vegetable called the Merit. Oh, it is called a Merit. It should be called a turcarrot, really. A carrot made out of meat that looks and tastes just like the orange vegetable. Now, why would you make it out of meat to taste like a vegetable? I don't get that. I understand making, a vegetable taste like meat because there's a lot of vegetarians that don't eat meat and, they like to have a little variety there. So I understand that, but I don't understand it the other way around. And carrots are very, very cheap, and turkey is not so cheap. I mean, it's cheaper than a lot of meat, but it's still not cheap. So why would you use meat to make something that tastes like a vegetable that you could buy for next to nothing? I don't know. I really don't know. I'll say it again, just because it bugs people. Well, it bugs somebody on that. They had to mention that I said I don't know a lot, and they said, "Do you think you could say it some more?" because I don't think you said it enough. Well, okay, I don't know. Arby's latest creation is a vegetable called the Merit, a carrot made of meat that looks and tastes just like the orange vegetable. Arby's says it boasts more than 30 grams of protein and more than 70% of the recommended daily amount of vitamin A. Insiders had a chance to taste the Merit ahead of its public reveal, and it was shockingly reminiscent of a carrot in both taste and appearance. Neville Craw, Arby's brand executive chief, hinted to Insider that the Merit could roll out in stores across the country. Well, I bet he'll be surprised when it fails. You know, I don't see a call for meat that tastes like vegetable. I mean, maybe vegetables that taste like meat, but meat that tastes like vegetable? I mean, wouldn't it be just simpler to eat the vegetable? Call me nuts. Call me crazy. Yeah. It says, from venison, elk, and duck to sandwiches with layers upon layers of meat and curly fries stacked on top, Arby's has offered some particularly unique products in the past. Well, this qualifies as unique. Gosh darn it. Now the sandwich chain is flipping the vegan meat trend on its head, leaning into its "We Have the Meats" slogan and creating its most bizarre concoction yet, the vegetable, a vegetable made out of meat. And Arby's new vegetable, the Merit, is exactly what it sounds like, a meat-based carrot that not only tastes like the orange vegetable, but has much of its nutritional value. Well, thank you, but if I had to choose, I would take the carrot. I'm just saying. I like my meat to taste like meat. Just saying. I like my vegetables to taste like, vegetables. Well, we'll have to wait and see how the vegetable, the Merit, does. But I'm not going to read the rest of this because I think it is simply stupid. Okay? There. I'm just out with it. Stupid. I, for one, will not be trying the vegetable and nor the Merit. So there you go. It'll be interesting, though, to see how much it costs. Maybe I will. I'm not an Arby's person. I never go to Arby's, but maybe I will stop in and see, a few months down the road, see if it's there, how much it costs, because I'm curious. Just curious. All right. That is it for tonight. There is more, but time is ticking. And, yeah, it's time to go. I know. Sad for me too. It is. I hate this time of night when I have to say goodbye. Not really, but okay. That's it, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully earlier. Hopefully much earlier. We'll try. I'm aiming for it. And you guys have a great night. Stay safe. Stay well. See something, say something. Stay alert, because I don't know. The next several days may hold some interesting and bizarre things in store. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, keep seeking truth, because you know it, deception bites. Good night.